swallow a bite of food that is too big, and your brain gets ripped apart right from the inside. Sounds like a horror movie script, right? But that is exactly the daily deadly risk for this 46 feet, or about 14 meters, long creature, the giant squid. Mother Nature played a horribly cruel joke on this sea monster. Their brain is shaped exactly like a donut, and the esophagus used to swallow food. It goes right through the very hole in the middle of that brain. That means if they accidentally swallow a fish whole without using their beak to chop it up first, that chunk of food will slide down, bulge out, and slowly crush their brain to death. You think being a deep-sea monster is cool? Not at all. For the giant squid, every meal is a game of Russian roulette flirting with death. We have always been obsessed with the legend of the Kraken, a destructive machine that loves to reach out its giant tentacles to tear apart and drag ships down to the bottom of the ocean. But the truth is a massive bait and switch. The world of the giant squid has no ocean liners or epic conquests. They are imprisoned at depths of thousands of feet, which is thousands of meters, where it is pitch black and the water pressure is so terrifying that it could crumple a steel tank into scrap metal in the blink of an eye. So why did nature create a creature as long as a school bus, weighing up to 660 pounds, which is about 300 kilograms, yet possessing such a fragile and easily self-destructing body? If not to rule the ocean, what do they need this massive body for? And how can a creature full of design flaws survive in the harshest place on the planet, where darkness, water pressure, and its very own biology are waiting to finish it off every single second? You already know about the death trap called the donut-shaped brain. So how does this monster survive its daily meals? It possesses a secret weapon, hidden dead center in its tentacles, a hard and razor-sharp beak that looks exactly like the beak of a giant parrot. The vital mission of this beak is to chop all prey into tiny little shreds before swallowing. They absolutely have to be tiny shreds, because if just one slightly large piece of fish fin slips down, it will get stuck, tear the esophagus, and pierce straight into the brain. Every time it eats, this squid has to perform highly precise microsurgery with its mouth. You see, being a monster is no walk in the park. But the weirdness of this biological machine does not stop there. Let us talk about its habitat. The dark deep sea, over 3,280 feet, which is about 1,000 meters below the surface. The pressure here is so immense that it could crush a submarine flat. Under that horrific water pressure, if the giant squid used a gas bladder to float like normal fish, its body would instantly explode into 100 pieces. So how does a giant mass of muscle weighing 660 pounds, or 300 kilograms, not sink to the bottom and get crushed in the mud? Nature threw it a survival solution that is both genius and the stinkiest thing possible, evolving into a chemical storage tank. Instead of using air, the giant squid pumps its muscle tissues full of a solution that is lighter than seawater, helping it float effortlessly. And that solution is ammonia. Yes, you heard that right. It is the exact same pungent, foul-smelling chemical that you normally use to scrub your toilet every weekend. Let us paint a picture here. The entire magnificent body of this creature is essentially just a giant meat balloon, flooded on the inside with toilet bowl cleaner. In return, this brutal chemical mechanism gives them a superpower. It helps the giant squid hover motionless in the thick black water like a silent ghost, without spending a single calorie of energy to swim. They just hang there in the dark, waiting for a clueless fish to swim by, and then lash out their tentacles that are dozens of feet, which is tens of meters, long to snatch it up. And here is a harsh but hilarious truth for all the seafood lovers out there. Have you ever dreamed of carving up a giant squid to make a bed-sized plate of spicy grilled calamari? Squash that idea right now. Because with dozens of gallons, which is about dozens of liters, of ammonia deeply soaked into every fiber of its meat, taking a bite of a giant squid would give you the exact same experience as chewing on a toilet rag soaked in cleaning chemicals. A horrifying flavor guaranteed to make you completely lose faith in ocean cuisine. Imagine you are locked in a completely pitch-black basement. How would you evolve to survive? Most deep-sea creatures choose to lose their eyes to save energy. Completely. On the contrary, the giant squid goes all in with nature by possessing the largest eyes in the entire animal kingdom. Just how big are those eyes? Look down at your hands. Then imagine you are holding a whole basketball. That is right. Each of their eyes is the exact size of a large basketball. But wait, thousands of feet, or thousands of meters, deep at the bottom of the sea, where sunlight can never ever reach. What on earth do they need giant eyes for? To stare at the darkness? This is an incredible plot twist of evolution. These eyes were not born to see clear shapes, but rather they act like a light-gathering radar station. When deep-sea creatures move, they rub against the plankton layer and create microscopic bioluminescent streaks. The giant squid's eyes are so sensitive that they can catch that faint light from hundreds of feet, which is about 100 meters away. Any faint movement in the thick night is instantly captured by this basketball-sized biological camera. However, there is a tragedy even more cruel than the darkness waiting for them. You would think a 46 feet, or 14 meters, long giant creature carrying such massive weight must live for a very long time, like century-old sea turtles, right? The truth will blow your mind. The absolute maximum lifespan of a giant squid is merely 5 years. That is right, only 5 short years for such a magnificent machine. What does that mean? It carries the live fast curse. To reach a length of 46 feet, which is about 14 meters, before dying, they have to grow at the most insane speed in the natural world. Their bodies are forced to expand, growing fractions of an inch, or about several centimeters, longer every single day. This growth is as terrifying as raising a newborn baby, and less than a month later, it is as tall as a 2-story building. Growing at breakneck speed, their bodies become a massive energy furnace. An eternal hunger constantly tears at their core. They have no time to rest, and they are not allowed to be lazy. Their entire fleeting 5-year life is just packed into a deadly loop, hunting wildly, eating constantly, and growing. So, when the hunger reaches its peak and there is not a single scrap of meat around, what will this monster do to satisfy its skyrocketing growth rate? The next bloody secret will show you the true face of the deep-sea world. As we have just seen, the live fast curse turns the giant squid into an energy furnace that never turns off. But 3,280 feet, which is about 1,000 meters, down at the bottom of the sea is a dark desert, incredibly barren and scarce in food. So, how do you fill this bottomless stomach when there is not a single juicy school of fish swimming by? The answer will expose the ultimate brutality of nature. When the hunger screams to the extreme, they will turn around and tear apart their very own brothers and sisters. That is right, giant squids are the most notorious cannibals in the ocean. You think the worst thing in the deep sea is running into a bloodthirsty shark? No. The worst thing is when you are an injured giant squid and the dark shadow lurking nearby is actually your own kind. This bloody massacre is exactly like a battle royale arena at the bottom of the sea, where there is only one single rule: eat others or get eaten. Look at their weapons to see the chilling cruelty. The 2 long-reaching tentacles that grab their prey are not slippery smooth like the squid you eat from the grocery store. Zoom in on their surface, and you will see thousands of suction cups, and each one is surrounded by a ring of razor-sharp chitin teeth. Imagine each of those suction cups is a miniature steel bear trap. When they whip out their tentacles and tightly wrap around another giant squid, thousands of these bear traps will plunge right into the flesh, locking the victim in a death grip. Any struggling will only make these razor-sharp saw blades shred the skin of the poor victim, causing blood to gush out and mix into the pitch-black water. The winner will then calmly use its parrot beak to slowly chop up the loser, carefully chewing it to pieces so it does not choke on its own bizarre donut-shaped brain. This feast of flesh and blood helps it load up on enough calories to continue expanding another couple of inches, which is about a few centimeters, the very next day. So, on the evolutionary path to becoming a giant monster, their most terrifying enemy is their own kind? Not at all. No matter how massive their bodies are, or how many serrated suction cups they have, or how cold-blooded their cannibalistic habits are, the giant squid is still not at the top of the food chain. Every weapon they equip on their bodies, From the basketball eyes to the serrated tentacles, all of it is just to deal with one single nightmare. A true final boss of the ocean, all the most advanced biological weapons, from the basketball-sized eyes to detect light to the tentacles covered in bloody serrated teeth, actually serve only one single purpose. That is trying to survive against a literal nightmare named the sperm whale, the sworn enemy of the giant squid. You think a 46 feet or 14 meters long squid is huge? Try placing it next to a meat tank weighing up to 110,000 pounds, which is about 50 metric tons, carrying a jaw bristling with teeth as big as an adult human forearm. When it hears the deadly sonar clicks of a sperm whale locking onto its target, why does the giant squid not turn and run? Surprisingly, the truth is, it cannot. The water jet propulsion mechanism this squid uses to swim consumes a massive amount of oxygen. If it sprints away, it will run out of oxygen and suffocate itself after just a few jets. Running away is equal to suicide. So what must it do when death is charging straight at it, at a speed of 25 miles per hour, or about 40 kilometers per hour? There is only one choice: turn back and fight to the death. Can you imagine the brutal scene of a real-life kaiju battle down in the deep sea? A 110,000-pound, which is 50 metric ton, block of muscle crashing into a tangled mess of spiked whips. In a desperate effort, the giant squid will swing all 10 of its tentacles, tightly wrapping around the whale's head. It tries to press thousands of razor-sharp suction cups into the opponent's flesh, frantically looking for a weak spot. But can that fierce resistance turn the tide? Sadly, in 99% of these encounters, the giant squid is forever the loser and turns into dinner. Its only payback, which is also the final mark of its resilience, are the deep round scars. If you look closely at the skin of an adult sperm whale, you will see thousands of scars the size of dinner plates carved all over their faces. Each of those scars is a bloody medal, recording the moment a giant squid fought to its very last breath in the eternal night. For centuries, humans have labeled them as the bloodthirsty kraken sea monster, a terror of the ocean. But after all these brutal facts, what do you see? They are absolutely not leisurely rulers. They are actually like cursed gladiators, thrown straight into a dark Roman Colosseum with no way out. Carrying a brain waiting to self-destruct, a body kept afloat by smelly chemicals, and a fleeting lifespan of exactly 5 years. Do we still have the right to call them terrifying monsters? Or should we bow our heads in respect for their fierce will to survive? Every day that passes 3,280 feet, which is about 1,000 meters deep for the giant squid, is a tragic epic. The greatness of this creature does not lie in its massive size or its brutality. It lies in its immortal warrior spirit. Even though nature threw them a deeply flawed body and the most overwhelming enemies, they still resiliently hold on, reach up their scarred tentacles, and fight to their very last breath. What do you think about the incredibly tragic yet extremely resilient life of this biological machine? Which fact in today's video left you feeling the most shocked and haunted? Drop your thoughts down in the comments section below right now. And if you found this video interesting, do not forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe to support me in continuing to uncover the craziest mysteries of the natural world. Thanks for watching, goodbye, and see you next time.